Are they worth it? Maybe yes, maybe no. We're gonna see in this video. We have here on the desk the latest starter deck from the One Piece card game. We have starter deck 23, 24 and 25. There's also the 26, 27 and 28 down there. We're gonna open this in a separate video. Let's focus on 3 decks first, because there's a lot to unpack, and the leader are gonna be reprint from leaders that we've known from the game in the past, and they're gonna be adding new cards in those decks to go along with those leaders. So will that make those leaders good? We don't know yet. We're gonna check it out. Let's adjust the angle right here, put this just out of the way. Throw the keyboards on the side, mouse as well, and let's start with the Shanks starter deck. This is the Shanks from OP09, and this was actually a very fun leader to build around for. I made a video showcasing how you can build this very quickly, but this here is gonna be a reprint of that specific leader. Let's dig in those deck. We have the, yeah, I never show these anymore because I mean it's always kind of the same, but with every starter deck you still have the rule sheet as well as the paper playmat. Still very useful, especially when starting up the game, which, I mean, starter deck, they're your best entry point for this game. So we're just gonna put that back in, and we're gonna be putting this aside because it's gonna get crampy in here. So I'm still gonna open all of them because we're gonna have some boosters in those starter deck, and we still want to see if we manage to pull something cool out of those packs. So without further ceremony, we're gonna open this deck and we are gonna have our 10 Dawn card deck, which honestly at this point I don't need at all, but I mean, for anybody starting out the game, it's still very useful. So we're gonna have Shanks, the leader. So this leader is gonna be once per turn. This effect can be activated when your opponents attack. You're gonna give up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards minus 1k during this turn, so you can nerf incoming attack. That's a very cool skill, and that's why Shanks decks featuring Shanks have been very cool and somewhat successful at doing this, because it's still a very useful skill to have. We're gonna have Uta as the first SR in this deck, and her skill is gonna be, if you have a character with 1k power or more, you can give this card in your hand minus 4 cost. So this becomes a 2 cost with 10k power or more. I misread that. And also she's a blocker with a 2k counter. So that's a very good skill, not gonna lie. This is a very good skill. You have 2k on a card which features also a blocker, and that can potentially just cost you 2 when you're in the late game and you have your big body on the board. I don't think there's a 10 cost in here. No, there's not, but there is a Shanks that costs 10, I believe. If you play this card in this deck, late game, you're gonna have a 2 cost blockers with 4k, which is pretty decent, especially because you can nerf your opponent's attack, which makes it very defendable. So all in all, very good cards. Next, we're gonna have the SR Shanks, and this one is gonna be if your opponent has a character with 8k base power or more, you can give these cards in your hand -3 cost. So same kind of deal here. And a non-play effect if your leader has the red-haired pirate type or is Uta, your leader gain +2k power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Very cool skill, very serviceable. Not sure this is the one I would run in this deck, but still a very cool card. We have Ben Beckman, and this is going to be a 4-cost 5k body with a counter of 1000 and a non-play effect. You may trash one card from your hands. If your leader has the red-haired pirate type, you can KO up to one of your opponent's character with a cost with 4k base power or less. So very good KO. That's always usable in a deck because you want to get rid of the most part of your opponent's board to control this a bit, and it's always good to have this in a deck. Next we're gonna have Monkey D. Luffy, 1 cost 2k power with a counter of 1000. Activate main, you may rest one of your Dawn cards and this character. You can give it to one of your opponent's character -1k during this turn. So you can potentially use this in conjunction with your leader effect and have a pretty sizable nerf to your opponents. So that's pretty cool. Next we have Yasop, 1k 1 cost with a counter of 1000. Activate main, once per turn you can give up to one rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your character. Very classical when you need Dawn X1 on your card. You can totally use Yasop for that. Next we're gonna enter reprint territory. So we're gonna have a Howling Gab, we're gonna have a Bonk Punch, and those are OPO9 cards, by the way. We're gonna have Ongo, also from OPO9. We're gonna have Monster from OPO9, Yasop, another one from OPO9, Lime Juice, Lucky Roo, Rockstar, and Common Will Fight You. And those are all OPO9 reprints. They are all from the Shanks family from OPO9, and you get all those brand new cards here at the top to go along with this deck. Very good deck, very interesting. I wouldn't go with that boss, but it's still very decent here, straight out of the box. So now we're gonna put this aside. We're gonna open the next one. How am I gonna do this? I'm gonna just drop this here. This I'm gonna open after. So let's open Jewelry Bunny. And again, she was a very interesting leader, to say the least. She dominated when she got released for I think 2 sets in a row. She was one of the most played leader, and with reason, because quite honestly her skill was very bonker, to say the least. So I'm just gonna put this all back in the box on the side, and let's open this deck. And when we get to the skill of the leader, I think you'll understand why specifically this leader was so potent. Because green is more on the stand, restand control side of things, as well as Dawn stand and restand. So Jewelry Bunny here, this very good leader from OPO7, has an effect that on your opponent's attack, once per turn, you may rest one of your Dawn cards, and you can rest up to one of your opponent's leader or character. So that means that basically, specifically early game, you would constantly rest your opponent's leader or one of his character on the board, so he had no early game, and you will then control his board to prevent him from having the resource to really touch you. As long as you keep one Dawn up, and there are ways that you can restand Dawn very easily in green, you were basically untouchable for the earlier parts of the game. And when you get to the late game, if you do a good job at controlling your opponent's board while playing Bonnie, he will not be able to really do any damage, because you will have blockers to mitigate, you will have counters, you would have his board totally under control, and one of his attack always cancelled. So she was a very frustrating leader to face, but also a very fun one to play. So yeah, that's basically like half of it. I don't think I've shown her properly here. Now, as for which art do you prefer, this one, the base art, or maybe the alternate art, that's up to you to decide. Leave me that in the comment section down below. While you're at it, also, we've opened up a Discord, so if you want to join us and just chill out and talk about various things, just join us. Yeah, the link is in the description down below. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video, really helps us a ton, and we're trying to reach the 1,000 subscribers, so any help is really appreciated. We also have giveaway all the time, because we're opening a bunch of stuff. So this video also will feature a giveaway, so stick to the end. So as the first SR, we have Kid and Killer. So a 2-cost, 2k power on play effect. Look at the 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 supernova type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Good Searcher right here only costs 2, and you also have on your opponent's attack, you may trash this character, set up to 1 of your Dawn cards as active. So if you don't need this anymore, you can just trash it and basically enable your Bonnie to do what Bonnie does well, meaning you can potentially prevent your opponent from ever attacking. Second SR that we have is going to be Low and Beppo. 10 cost, 11,000 power, very strong. On play, rest up to 1 of your opponent's character, and that character will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. Then if your opponent has 2 or more rested character, your leader gain plus 2k until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Very strong, specifically in a Bonnie deck, because you're gonna be resting your opponents through and through, and so having this to strengthen that mechanic, it's it doesn't look good for any of the other leader. I will just tell you that this looks super strong. Next we have Capone Gang Beige, 2 cost, 1k power with a counter of 1,000 blocker, so this is going to be your low cost blocker. On play, if you have 6 or more rested cards, draw 1 card and trash 1 from your hands. You have some card cycling, too bad it's conditional. I would honestly swap this out for something else. There are better blockers, specifically in green, that you can go and add to this deck. Next, we're gonna have Basil Oakin, 4 cost, 4k power with a counter of 2,000. End of your turn, set up to 1 of your Dawn cards as active. Very strong. You should get 4 copies of this. There's only 2 in this deck, that's why I'm buying always 2 copies of each deck. And you need to put this, 4 copies of this in your Bonnie deck. This is going to be super strong, because at the end of your turn, you don't even have to think about it. You can just restand the Dawn. That's it. And there's another card in green, I believe in EB01, that's allowed to do exactly the same. I think it was Rouge, if I'm not mistaken. So play around with those, because this might be like a very strong deck for the time being again. So we have a 5 cost, 5k power X Drake next with a counter of 2,000. And the non-play effect, if your leader has the supernova type, rest up to one of your opponent's character with a cost of 5 or less. Then you can set up to one of your Dawn card as active at the end of this turn. So very strong when you play it. You can restand your Dawn and have that for your leader, but also you still get a bit of the aggressiveness that you can have by resting a 5 cost or lower. That's actually super cool and super strong. Next, we're gonna have EB01 Apu, which is gonna be a reprint, and those were I was talking about it. Those were the ones that you would typically see in a Bonnie deck back in the day. So all of those are going to be good to go with Bonnie, because you can rest with Scratchman Apu. You can restand the Dawn with U Rouge. At the end of your turn, you can set up one of your Dawn cards as active. He's a blocker with 5k and only a 4 cost. Do you see how good that is? Basil Hawkins is a 4 cost and he's a counter 2000. So you couple those in your deck, you're already golden. You can be super aggressive with resting your opponent's board and preventing your opponent from ever reaching out to Hawkins, and even still attack with Hawkins. Very strong, very good deck back in the day, and given the package that they've given this one with the Hawkins here and the Low and Beppo, it might be like a very strong deck that will still make some waves. You can see like all of these cards here at the bottom are the reprints, and we got all the new stuff here at the top. I would say this is a good deck, a very good deck if you want to be competitive. Pick one up or two, you know, for those 2 extra Basil Hawkins, or buy them singles maybe. But you still need 2 other Beppos and Low if you want to modify this deck, so make sure you get enough to build what you want to build and play what you want to play. That's the most important part. So that was the Bonnie deck. And now we're gonna move on to Buggy. Buggy, our second Emperor of the bunch. Might not be the strongest one, but the deck was very fun because the leader has such a weird kind of skill. So we're gonna see if they manage to make Buggy even more fun to play with whatever they've added in this. I don't know why I did that. Let's just... There. So, Buggy the Clown. There we go. Had a little bit of trouble on this one. So, Buggy, the Emperor that failed Upworld. So, let's look at the leader, get a bit of a refresher. So, he's an activate main. You may rest 5 of your Dawn cards and trash 1 from your hands. Okay, that's a very hefty price. But then you can play up to 1 cross guild type character from your hands, whichever that is. So for 5 downs and the trash, you get to play whatever you choose. And in blue, there was a ton of choice. So we're gonna see what they've included. Those are gonna be first the new cards. So we are gonna have Crocodile and Mihawk, 8 cost, 7k power. With an on-play effect, draw 2 cards and trash 1 from your hand. Then you can play up to 1 cross guild type character cards with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. So you can combo playing cards with this. So that's already like super interesting and super good. And we also have an end of your turn. If your cross guild type character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may trash 1 card from your hands instead. And that's not an end of your turn, but once per turn. So you got some defense that you can use with that, prevent your board from being controlled. So that would be interesting. And also these combos, and if you can target a 4 or less cross guild from your hands, I believe this is meant to play with this specific Baggy the Clown. Full cost 1k power with a counter of 1000. Activate main, you may trash one card from your hands and trash this character. If your leader is Buggy, play up to one cross guild type character card with a cost of 6 or less from your hands. So you would combo this into a 6 or less, so pretty much the rest of the deck, there's just the 10 cost Buggy right there that might not be targetable, but for the rest that's pretty solid. That's already like a very good combo. We have Alvida, full cost 5k powered with a counter of 1000. If you have 2 or more character with a base cost of 5 or more, this character gains +1 cost. On play, if your leader is Buggy, you can draw 3 cards and trash 2 from your hands. So you get some card cycling with Alvida, which is always very good because you need to access the cards in your deck that you need in order to make the play that you need to play. I promise this all makes sense. So very cool, very good cards. The cost mechanic I don't really like that much, but I mean, still something you can use in some wanky situation. Next we have Kabaji, full cost 1k power with 2k counter. If you have 2 or more character with a base cost of 5 or more, this character gains blocker and +1 cost. Also, during the opponent's turn, this character gains +5k power. So mainly a defensive cards. You do want to make sure that you can bump this up to a 5 cost, because then you get to activate the blocker, and if you can activate the blocker, you have a good defense with this 6k conditional power Kabaji. Next we're gonna have Moji, full cost 1k power with a counter of 2000, and if you have 2 or more character with a base cost of 5 or more, this character gains blocker and +1 cost. On KO, if your leader is Buggy and you have 3 or less cards in your hands, you can draw 1. So pretty much the same deal as Kabaji, but in a more twisted, flavorful way, because this actually allows you to draw, but only on the condition that this gets KO and you have 3 or less cards in your hand. So you might want to consider carefully your combos there. Next, we're gonna have a reprint in OPO9 of Alvida. We're gonna have a reprint of Kabaji, and we're gonna stop a second on this Buggy because you can play this for 5 done using your leader skill. So this is a 10 cost 12k power Buggy the Clown. On play, place up to one of your opponent's character at the bottom of the owner's deck. Then if you do not have 5 character with a cost of 5 or more, place this character at the bottom of the owner's deck. So you cannot play this straight up with your leader. This is going to be bottom decked if you play this too early. Now you can still use this effect because you still bottom deck one of their character during the game, so that might be something you might want to do early. And even if you don't get to use the 12k of this specific character because you need to have a board established for that, you might still get some value out of this by playing it early. That's totally up to you to see this. We're gonna have a reprint of Moji, Richie, Mr. One, Das Bones. We're gonna have a reprint of Galdino. We're gonna have a very cool reprint of the promotional Buggy the Clown. So this specific Buggy is a promo card, full art, and it's a pretty cool card at that. So 7 cost, 8k power. This character cannot attack. If your leader is Buggy, all character with a cost of 3 or 4 cannot attack. So you're blocking your own board. But on play, you can play up to 1 cross guild type character cards with a cost of 6 or less from your hand. So you pay 7 to play this, prevent part of your board from attacking, but you get to throw out a 6 or less cost cross guild character. So still cool, still some use, and we finish off with a cross guild event. So this is one of the decks that I feel the most divisive about, because it's it needs to have carefully crafted combos to really works. And honestly, a bunch of the cards that are in here I would not really keep. Maybe the Dracula and the Buggy here. The rest I don't really know. I don't really know, and I would look at something else maybe to replace them. Of course, all of the reprints that we have are going to be from OP09, because that's where we got the cross guild package for the game. So maybe look into that. If you really want to play this game, this deck specifically, you're gonna have a bit of a trouble making this work out of the box, because it's a bit more complex, and honestly I would feel this would lose to the Barney deck. The Barney deck is gonna be still the best that you can have as a starter deck. Now, I promise that with each opening there will be a giveaway, and this is no exception. There is an opening of 3 starter decks. There is gonna be an opening. Right now, the previous giveaway that we had this Yamato and this Sanji here in giveaway. You can check the video recommended in the card for those. The Yamato is about to close, the Sanji is still open for a bit, but for this specific video we will give away this Boa Hancock. So first and foremost, subscribe to the channel, never miss anything that we post and any of the giveaways that we're gonna do in the future. There are still 3 other starter decks that I'm gonna be opening, which gonna have their own giveaway, and we're gonna open those booster packs on the side, which are gonna be also their own giveaway. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified when we post these giveaways. And the next step is going to be to share this video with your friends. Finally, to lock in your participation, you're gonna leave me in the comment section down below which is your favorite leader among those 3. So Shanks, Bunny, Buggy, which one do you like the most? But that's gonna be it. I'm gonna keep those boosters on the side. We're gonna open them in a separate video. I'm just gonna take out the rest of the boosters from those packs. If you want to see my original OP11 opening, you can check the video here. And if you want to see me open the previous 6 sets of decks, you can check the video here. And I'll see you over there.